Hey, you listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM 89.0. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we've got Josh.
Hey.
Gonna be starting off with Raw, and as always, we'll cut to SmackDown after the song, but we got a lot to get through. It was the night of returns for Raw. First one up sees Stephanie McMahon coming back, and making an announcement that last time we saw Kurt Angle wasn't the last time we're gonna see him in the ring.
And not a surprise.
No. I think everybody expected him to do a couple more, We've now tested him, and he works fine.
Yeah, I think most of us also expected him to be the captain for the Team Raw.
Yeah, we'll see, because it also depends, I guess, how much, the team fills out. There's a rumored, Raw and SmackDown lineup. Don't know if I can find it in a hurry. And I think we're also waiting around to see when Roman's going to come back as well.
Yeah.
Because, signs seem to be positive for that in terms of him being back in time for Survivor Series.
Yeah, it seems from what I've heard, he didn't get meningitis. He got the mumps.
Okay.
And that was why he was pulled from TLC as well as the UK tour.
Yeah, I think it was just potentially inconvenient timing. Him going out with a quote-unquote illness at the exact same time as two other people went out with their viral meningitis. It did seem a little weird that, Bray, Bo, and JoJo make sense. I didn't see necessarily how Roman fitted in there, but yeah, we'll have to just cross our fingers and hope like hell that he's good to come back soon. Can I see it? Here we go. So the rumored teams for Team Raw here is going to be Kurt Angle, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, and Roman Reigns.
3/4 of the Fatal 4-Way Survivor Series SummerSlam match, plus Finn Balor, who wants a shot at the title, plus the fact that Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman have been at each other's throat all year long. That's one Survivor Series team that's not going to get along.
But if we ignore the team dynamic there, where they're clearly not going to get along, that's still a strong team.
Yeah. The only thing that puts anything even closely remote to them together is the fact is their brand loyalty, and that's it. And it depends on whether they have any or not.
It seems to fluctuate really quickly on who has brand loyalty and who doesn't. We'll wait and see at the moment. But we'll tackle on with Raw. Nia Jax making a return straight into the Raw women's team.
Yep. Alicia Fox is doing her job pretty well so far, and Crazy Foxy has definitely gotten over.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like it was starting to get over in the first time. I don't remember if it was an injury or a creative decision that saw it stop last time. But we're seeing what should have been happening now.
Yeah.
And
Foxy has shown why she had her spot for 10 years. Against many people calling for her head for far too long, especially over a certain comment a certain former WWE superstar made on a certain reality show.
I fully thought you were going another direction here. I thought you were going to tease me about Emma being released. Instead, I'll just acknowledge the Emma thing, acknowledge the Alicia Fox thing, and move on about how she made, other than Asuka, the best choice for her team.
Yeah, she's the one person that was crazy enough to not pick Asuka. And that's why the Team Raw will lose the Survivor Series match, is because Asuka will not be on the team. That's how they're going to protect her undefeated streak.
Fair enough. Asuka did have a match on Raw. She just crushed some rando.
Some random person that was dressed up in Emma's old gear, the bubbly one.
Nope, just some random has no semblance to anybody whatsoever. It was a nice clean break, and it'll all be fixed in a couple of years. We'll just do the last women's division while we're here as well. Alexa Bliss, she defends her championship one more time.
I thought for sure Mickie James was going to win the title last time.
Give her enough shots, surely she'll do it.
But Alexa succeeded in retaining it, and she will be facing Natalya for brand superiority.
We're getting a lot of title matches leading up to the title versus title ones at SummerSlam. Oh, Survivor Series, sorry. And it's interesting, there's always times that you're like, it could change here.
Especially when you consider the fact that nearly every title match is a heel versus a heel.
Mm-hmm.
So it does definitely open up the possibility of somebody switching the titles prior to the Survivor Series pay-per-view.
Yeah. And we're getting a lot of opportunities just sort of coming out of nowhere. Like on Raw, Matt Hardy has a shot at the Intercontinental title.
Mm-hmm. That was a pretty good match. And Matt really, it was the one person probably that could not be hurt by losing to The Miz there.
Mm-hmm. Have you been paying attention to the, I don't want to call it this, the Twitter beef between Miz and Corbin?
Somewhat, but I do know that there's been a lot of references from Corbin about Maurice.
Yeah. It's pretty much Corbin, as far as I know, made a video, potentially a tweet. Miz fires back. He swears, but it's bleeped. And pretty much goes on a massive tirade, doing Miz stuff on the mic. And then Baron Corbin replies back, and they're going back and forth, and then Baron ends his promo with something along the lines of, I'll make you call me daddy, but we'll move on. We're going to assume it was a slip of the tongue of Corbin's, and continue on with at least... Because a lot of people going into this match thought that Miz was just going to verbally smack down Baron Corbin, and Baron Corbin was going to come out of it looking like horrible. I'd like to say he's holding at least 50% of his weight, but he is going up against The Miz, so it's very hard there. Very few people could go toe-to-toe.
It's not that hard when you consider that Maurice has become The Miz's berserk button.
Mm-hmm.
Which is completely understandable.
Yeah.
But everybody who feuds with him at this point, that they're going for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had Enzo with the "Who's your daddy" comment, and now you have Baron absolutely running it into the ground.
Yeah.
So, and The Miz, to his credit, he's played it off pretty well, but you can really tell it does bother him a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have faith that if The Miz said enough is enough, like verbally, and actually told someone that enough is enough, I feel like he's respected enough that it would stop.
But I think he understands that there's money involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's fine with it as long as it makes sense. If it's something just where it comes out of nowhere and it's not for a program or something, I think that will get somebody hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking kayfabe. I'm talking literally hurt. Yep. Whether it's The Miz getting hurt because he's defending his wife's honor, or the person that did it gets hurt. Somebody will get hurt.
Yeah. I said it was the night of returns. Samoa Joe returns. He decides his target is going to be Apollo Crews. We're going to have the funeral tomorrow?
No, because we're too busy preparing for a funeral for another superstar, which we'll talk about it later on.
Yeah. We're just going to have a whole bunch of funerals one after another. One big procession at the end. It's all going to be fine and dandy. But we already talked about the rumor that Samoa Joe is going to be in the Raw team. It does make a little bit of sense at this point.
And that's why a lot of people when they were announced that Miz was going to defend his title, they wanted Joe in that match. I'm like, no, because if Joe comes back, he wins the title. Then you can't use him in the Survivor Series match.
Yeah. We'll talk about it. Braun Strowman returns and decides to kill The Miz and the Miztourage.
But the only person that got burned was Curtis Axel.
Mm.
And that was a televised murder. There have been rumors that have come out after that Curtis Axel's days in the company may be numbered.
I feel like we hear that very often, and it seems as though with the internet and rumors at the moment, because anybody got released, all of a sudden everybody's going to get released. I know at one point people were heavily convinced that the club were going to get released. And like every little thing, like, oh, his Twitter bio doesn't mention WWE. Well, it hasn't done that for 3 months. It's like everybody's flipping out of a whole bunch of nothings at the moment. And then I'll be sidelined when it actually does happen. It's like Boy Who Cried Wolf, but Internet Who Cried released.
Yeah. But that's definitely one way to write somebody off for before you release them.
What else we got here?
Painful way. Away.
Well, he wasn't the only one who got a bit of a painful thing. Kane absolutely taking out Daniel Bryan. I put a sad face next to this note because I don't think they're going to hug this one out.
No, but we do need. We do need. Oh man,
Dr. Shelby?
Yeah, we need Dr. Shelby on speed dial. Stat.
Yep. Kane hates SmackDown.
No. Kane hates Indies. Notice that he took out Finn Balor and in Indie Darling. Then he took out Seth Rollins. He took out Dean Ambrose. He took out Daniel Bryan. And he took out Finn Balor again.
Yeah, I don't know what, because obviously there's a lot of Raw vs. SmackDown happening at the pay-per-view. I don't necessarily know what a lot of these people who aren't going to be are not a champion or not in the top 5 are going to be doing. And Kane's one of those. Kane seems to be coming out with a vengeance, swinging hard, and if he ain't on that team, if the teams do end up the way they're rumored, he's got an empty slot.
Let's see. Also, Cesaro is a indie darling.
Mm. You know who isn't an indie darling? Chad Too Bad and Tex Ferguson. And we have a trick-or-treat street fight? Trick-or-street fight. I'd get it right sooner or later. 2 Santas versus 2 people from Southpaw.
A lot of people hated this, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
There's always going to be the one fun match on a Halloween show. Suck it up and deal with it. And I'm never going to be mad when we get appearances from Southpaw references. That's always a good time.
I will say, I thought it was funny watching Gallows stand there with his with that jack-o'-lantern on his head, celebrate like they won the match.
Yep.
That was funny.
See, fun. Wrestling's meant to be fun, people. Remember that. Always remember that. That's pretty much everything from Raw. Have I missed anything that you can think of? I've hit all my notes. I guess we can mention
Elias and Jason Jordan's continuing their feud.
They're going to continue till the end of time, right?
Probably no longer than Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn did.
One of those is a lot more high profile than Elias and Jason Jordan. We should also mention that on a live event, I can probably get up where, the Shield needed a 3rd member, and they decided to enlist Triple H. And
people have absolutely gone berserk because there's no storyline reason for it, and I'm like, it's a house show. Yep. There's never a storyline reason for anything they do.
Yep.
It's just for fun. It's for fun for the crowd there, and mainly the practice. I mean, it has no purpose. I mean, the event I went to back in June, one of the matches was Mickie James and Dana Brooke versus Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax. And this was way before Mickie James started getting her push. But they won that match.
Yeah.
And it was for the crowd. It was not. It didn't have to make sense because it didn't have to make storyline sense because it didn't matter. It's not like the title. It's not like when AJ won the title at Madison Square Garden on the house show.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's half the problem. I think fans are struggling to separate it because we've had so many reality blurring ones, like the AJ Styles winning the title, and WWE covers these events a lot more. Like Triple H coming back and teaming with the Shield is posted on their YouTube. It's reported on WWE.com. So I guess it's
But
a lot more confusing to the casual fan.
But last week he was in South Africa dancing in the ring with the New Day. Yes, he pedigreed them at the end, kind of like Stone Cold used to do. But still.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a line there, and it is definitely blurred. It's for fun. The same as the trick or treat match. It's for fun. Remember that. We'll go to our song. It's Booker T's entrance theme because the World Series ended like 15 minutes ago.
Hour and a half ago, about an hour ago.
I was eating dinner.
1:30. It was about an hour and a half ago.
Okay.
And Houston Astros won, and Booker is from Houston.
Makes sense. But you know. And you're back with Wrestling Roundup, FreeFM 89.0, Grady and Josh. Getting into SmackDown now. Still got heaps to get through on SmackDown. As expected, Shane McMahon decides to set himself into Team SmackDown to even out the Kurt Angle-ness. At this point, Shane McMahon's just insane, right?
Well, this is the same man that told Kurt to suplex him through a plate glass window again when he failed the first time to get him through it.
Gotta love Sugar Glass. Yeah. Shane's a little insane. Both in kayfabe and in real life. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Shane. He seems to be putting himself in matches left, right, and center, and never really walking out the victor, and never really walking out in good shape either. Normally on a stretcher.
Yeah, last year he was in the Survivor Series match, and he got stretchered out. Mm-hmm. They actually stopped the match to call it for him because he got beat up so badly.
Yeah, he got stretchered out of his last match.
The only one he didn't get stretchered out at WrestleMania, but that's because he didn't do anything stupid.
Pretty much.
Which I expected him to get up on top of the ring, on the ring that was on top of the ring, and jump off of it. Because that's such a Shane thing to do.
He got carded out at WrestleMania 32, though, right?
Yeah.
So he's been carded out.
Because he jumped off the cage.
In every single match he's had, minus the AJ Styles one.
And that's only because they didn't give it a stipulation, so he couldn't go do something stupid.
God damn it. You're insane. Stop putting yourself in matches. God. Yeah, we'll talk about these ones just to finish up the Team SmackDown. Bobby Roode defeats Dolph Ziggler in a 2 of 3 falls match and puts himself into the team. He earned his spot. And then later on in the night, Shinsuke Nakamura defeats Kevin Owens and puts himself into the team as well.
Yeah, to join Randy Orton, who qualified last week.
And either AJ Styles or Rusev, who will qualify next week.
And we all know it'll be AJ Styles.
Yeah, the rumored one is AJ Styles, so we'll presume it's AJ Styles. So that's a team of five good people.
It's definitely going to have a lot of star power in that match. That's for sure.
Yeah, it'll be a good one. It does, again, bring up the question, like, all of these people have opponents that they're currently in feuds with at the moment. You know, we've got Rusev, Aiden English, Dolph Ziggler, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. That's another 5-man team there. What necessarily they're going to do, I assume Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will find a way to mess up the 5-on-5, since they seem so hell-bent on making Shane McMahon's life a living misery.
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if they took Shane out himself when it looks like Shane might win.
We'll have to wait and see. But I think they'll find a way to involve themselves in that match, whether officially or non-officially. We'll have to wait and see.
I just had a thought.
Shoot with the thought.
We have a ref bump during the match.
Mm-hmm.
So that takes out the referee.
Yep.
Sammy comes down, knocks out Shane.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Owens comes out in a referee's shirt and counts the 3 and eliminates Shane.
Yeah. Yep. I see no flaws. This is the perfect plan. Write it down, book it, let's move on. Baron Corbin, despite being in a feud with The Miz for their match at Survivor Series, decides to continue his feud with Sin Cara a little bit, and he touched the mask.
Yeah, Sin Cara recently signed a brand new contract, a new 3-year contract. That's why he's getting a push.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
And I'm fine with that. I like Honeycomb. So I'm all right with it. I would not be all right if he took the title from Baron Corbin right now. But I'm fine with him feuding with Baron.
So when's the hair versus mask gonna happen?
You know what? As long as the U.S. title doesn't change hands, I'm fine with that. I'd go Clash of Champions.
We're gonna see a bald Baron Corbin because there's no way Sin Cara loses his mask.
Yeah, Baron Corbin kind of needs it. To be honest.
Shush, us follically impaired people are just perfectly fine living our lives. Okay. What else we got here? We got the New Day. They're dressing up. They're not celebrating Rusev Day. Just a bit of fun. And it's how Rusev earned his match next week. So we're going to see New Day versus Rusev and Aiden, right?
Why not? Honestly, I would really like to see him work with the Usos. I think that there could be a lot there because they do have a connection.
Yeah.
Rusev was trained by their daddy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and just honestly, as good as Sammy has been as a heel, I feel like what they did for him there would really benefit Rusev if he went face.
Yeah.
Because he's got a lot of comedic chops.
Mm-hmm. I'd be elated if he went face.
Yeah. Especially when you've seen what he does on Up, Up, Down, Down or Southpaw Regional Wrestling. So I really like it, especially see them do it before he gets the axe. Mm-hmm. Which he was trolling everybody last week when Emma got released with his comment saying, "If I go, I go."
Yeah, people love the little bit of trolling. They're definitely feeding, but we'll see. Benjamin and Gable, they're ready to take the titles. Are they going to take the titles?
Maybe.
I think this is the most likely one to swap, despite it making it a face versus face match. I could definitely see these ones.
It's already a face versus face match, technically. Cause
good point.
The Usos technically aren't heel. They're not technically faces either. But they definitely somewhere in the middle after the sign of respect for the New Day after the Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah. Last thing. Wanted to end the show on it, just to make you super happy. We got Stranger Rare Things. It was the Bludgeon Brothers all along, Josh. It was them all along. We all knew it. Nobody wanted to admit it, but it was them all along. I'm assuming, unless this new attack is unrelated to the original attack. One of the two. There's always the chance that this new attack was done by the Bludgeon Brothers, but the old one wasn't. If it's any consolation prize, it means that the Bludgeon Brothers are probably going to take out both Breezango and the Ascension and look super strong doing it. Is that a good enough consolation prize to make you wake up from your snorefest?
I wasn't snoring, I was growling.
Both just as bad. You mad?
Yes.
You knew it though, right?
I didn't want to believe it.
Yep.
That was me. That was my version of you not believing me when I told you Emma was in trouble.
Hey, just because I brought up things that annoy you at the end of the show does not mean you can bring up things to annoy me. I have the magical words, and those magical words is, we're all out of time, and it's been great talking to you.
Bye-bye.
You visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/WrestlingRadio, and our Twitter page, twitter.com/WrestlingRadio. Wrestling Radio, and we'll see you next week. If I haven't killed Josh.